I have completely lost track of what the subject matter of this video was. Andy and Cam chat about the nature of doing things.
The nature of life and existence itself. People in relationships have like they're just weird. It's like they lose all semblance of reality, all semblance of rationality and logic. And I used to be exactly the same, so I'm not saying that I was any different. We become very emotional. We pin all our happiness and our hopes and dreams on the other person or on the relationship. And so I think when you do a video, like you've done recently, a couple of breakup, like how to break up, how to be okay during a breakup. When you do a video like that, people are like, no, fuck this. This isn't reality. This is never going to happen. And it's like, well, most relationships break up. And it's a useful skill to be able to handle that stoically and with love and be okay and move on and all of that.
Mm,
So it's one
mm.
of those things where people don't want to see how what's the saying? They don't want to see how the cookie is made, or they don't want to see how the chips are made.
It's been very obvious that whenever I've made breakup material, if you've made breakup material, that it is very well received by the guys who sign up for the coaching because a few, a number of them have been through that situation and are still hurting from it. And so I often make content for them, for the guys who are in the
Mm.
program, basically, which is a kind of a weird thing to do because, trying to make content that advertises and reaches a lot of people and you're making it for like a very niche percentage of the guys, but it's going to hit the right person and be like, yo, is this something I actually needed to hear? Which is always good. Like, even if it doesn't reach like a big audience or whatever. So
And
I
remember,
appreciate
we're
it.
doing content for lots of different people. Like
Yeah.
we have a general target audience, sort of, but we also don't. Like there is like 25% women on this channel. Like we don't
25.
really have a niche. 25% of the audience is women that
You're a
watch
chick.
this.
You're a chick magnet, Andy. That's why.
It's because we do very general philosophies and ideas. And for the most part, my target audience, my avatar, when I think of it, it's changed a lot over the last
Yeah,
3 years of
100%.
doing this. At the start, it was like guys from 25 years old to like 35, maybe a little bit less than that, 25 to 30-year-old men. That was kind of my avatar. And it's very much opened up to, I will now say, anyone who's into self improvement or anyone who wants to be happy. Like, I don't
Yeah.
give a fuck about the gender. I don't give a fuck about the age. I'd say as long as you're 18 or older. I don't want anyone under 18 on this channel. No hate to you, but like, this is not the channel. Like, I really wouldn't be watching my channel if you're under 18. Like, politely, please leave. Like, there's just too much sex content here. I don't want you here. But I don't have a target audience in mind. It's like, do you want your life to improve? If the answer is yes, great, be here. Or another way of phrasing that is, do you take responsibility, ownership of your life and your happiness and your emotions, or are you a victim? Like, if you're the person who says it's not fair, it's like this isn't the channel for you. But if you're the person who says I can change, or I want to just believe that I can change, I want to change something, then yeah, that's this channel. So I think because we have such a wide audience, I guess you would say, we're doing videos that change drastically in tone. And the person we're speaking to, okay, here's my question to you. Do you have a person in mind that you're speaking to with each individual video that you do? And is that person different per video?
Yeah, 100%. Like I made a few videos recently about the shame of like being inexperienced, and it was specifically
Hmm.
at like guys who got older. Like specifically like if you're in your like mid to late 20s. Not that I had that experience. Well, I did. I had the experience of thinking I hadn't had enough sex in my later 20s, but I lost my virginity at 22, so I'm not like a crazy outlier or anything like that. I think there's quite a few guys nowadays who lose their virginity like relatively that late. And to me, that was really late, you know. But I was making it for the guy who was in my position, or the guy who was in the position of some of our clients who have been
Hmm.
30 and a virgin. Like the biggest examples are
Yeah,
like Ed and
older than
Ravi.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And those are the guys who like are most like I'm not going to say they're most in need. Everyone's desires and like pain is like valid. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't whatever you're suffering through. If you're 19 and you're panicking that you haven't had sex yet, I'm not going to tell you you're an idiot. I'm going to sympathize. You know what I mean? Like whatever. Like I'll sympathize with the pain that you're feeling, but it's
Yeah.
generally probably worse suffering wise. for someone, or at least they've given up, like more likely to have given up and gone a bit crazy about it if they've got to like
There's more
30.
hopelessness
Yeah, the
if
hopelessness
you're
is the
older.
problem. You got to break through that.
Mm.
And like they kind of come to us. Like when Ravi came to you, you were like last chance saloon. Do you know what I mean? That's the way he thought about it to some degree. Like
From
this
his
is
point of view, yeah.
from his
Same
point of
with
view.
Ed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we knew that they would figure it out eventually, regardless, because they were going to keep trying. But in their mind, it was like, this is it. Like this is the guy I'm pinning all of my hope on. Like the last bit of hope that I have of not giving up
Mm.
is in this guy, and
That's common.
that is
Quite a
very
few
common,
people come
especially for
to
the
us with that mindset.
yeah. They're like, well, I'll do it now or I give up. And like the
And do you know
secret, by
how
the way.
marketable? Sorry, I interrupted you. Go.
Well, I was gonna say it's a complete lie because those guys aren't gonna give up.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
yeah,
I was going to say, do you know how much we could capitalize on that feeling, the fear of missing out that people have with sex, particularly when they're older? They really do look at us, and I guess they look at other YouTube channels and coaches and people like that. They look at us as the last chance, like a lot of the
yeah.
time, especially guys that are in their late 20s. Like when
What
I
a
was 28.
wild story. Like what a
Yeah,
wild story
but they
that
believe
is.
it.
Yeah, I know. It's a
Think
crazy
about how
like
much we could capitalize on that with marketing. Think about, I don't want to be very fucking clear, but like
no, not. Also, we suck at marketing.
prime
Don't
ripe
worry.
like person to exploit for money. No, I know, but like I do have that not a thought like I don't want to do it, but sometimes I see that people come to us so fucking vulnerable and I appreciate the responsibility that we have and I'm like, okay, I want to be gentle with this person. And one of the things that we do a lot in coaching when someone comes to us as like a late 20s or like a, mid 30s person who hasn't had sex or hasn't had a lot of sex, one of the things we drill into them is like, look, yes, you're here for coaching. Yes, you've paid a lot of money to be here. Yes, we're going to help you with this, but you'll be okay even if you didn't lose your virginity or didn't have a lot of sex in your time in the coaching. You have the rest of your life to handle this. We have all this structure and shit in the coaching program to make sure you're okay after the 12 weeks of coaching are over. You stay in the members only community forever. We will keep doing members only videos forever and adding to that. And so we set you up, but it's a weird thing to drill into people. Hey, when they're coming to us and they're like, I need to change, I need to have this sex, and we're like, sure, but even if you don't, you'll be okay, because that's like a weird story that people have. They're like, I have to lose my virginity right now, or I have to achieve my goal, otherwise I'm a loser. And we're like, yes, I love the passion that you want to achieve this goal, but what bad thing happens if you don't lose your virginity in the next 12 weeks? Like, could you not just keep working on it for the rest of your life until you get it? It's a weird, like, we're almost asking people to take off. I mean, we're asking them to take off the pressure that they put on their own shoulders, because that pressure, you and I have seen this so much in coaching. People think that the pressure they put on themselves is what's going to make them succeed. And it's like, no, it just gets in the way. Like, pressure can be a beautiful thing, but I'm talking about pressure that comes from fear or stress or panic or like hopelessness or fuck, like I have to change this. Like, you just end up freaking yourself out, and you go on dates and you put all this pressure on yourself. There's a guy in the coaching group right now, the guy that's just joined recently. He was putting all this fucking pressure on himself with the dating, right? Like, guys, what do I say to this girl? She's coming over and maybe this is the chance to lose my virginity. How do I be smooth? How do I be perfect? And it's like you end up fucking it up. Not that it's a fuck up, but you put all this pressure on yourself and you actually perform worse because you're stressing yourself out. And so we go through this weird thing with people where we're like, take some of that pressure off, realize that you'll be okay. You don't need Cam and Andy to change the rest of your life. We'll help you, obviously, and like we will change your life. But like, even if we didn't, you'd be okay.
I need more guys to experience the disaster date that still ends up with you sleeping with her. I need more guys to
Dude,
experience
okay.
this because no, one sec, because like, and not enough guys who have no experience don't they read pickup guys, they follow dating gurus, they look at all these lists of things that you have to do and everything you have to get right. The dirty secret is anyone who's done a high volume of this stuff has fucked up in ways you cannot imagine and still slept with a girl he was on a date with, or still slept or had the most awkward approach ever and still ended up sleeping with that girl, or completely maybe he opened her on Tinder with the wrong name and still got to sex. I've done that, and I think I've may have had sex with a girl that I called the wrong name on the opener. Like now, once you experience that, you recognize like how much pressure can be relieved because like there's it's like there's always a chance that you just get lucky, which is the funness of playing the game, which is like the fun of play like social interaction and the fun of learning to ride the chaos. Like that's what I'm trying
Mm,
to get like the mindset into guys of like you're not really in like a video game with loads of inputs and set rules. You're more like it's more like surfing. It's more like you're
like
just
an
holding your
art.
balance. Yeah, it's more like holding your balance and like learning to surf the chaos and the waves and like just
Mm,
getting through it to the end. And that's more what dating is like to me than some like structured game like chess or poker would be. And that maybe I'm at odds with some people who are very much more analytical about it, and I get that. But like, there's just too many. Social interaction is very messy and very fun and very weird. And as long as you accept that and you accept the chaos, it's a lot easier to deal with. But like to some degree, the only way you understand that is through experience. So I don't.
mm,
It's not. It's good for them to have me and you there, just being like, no, you're doing all right. Like nothing you did was necessarily wrong in these interactions. There are some things that maybe we would have done differently, and that's the phrasing. That's always going to be the phrasing I think we use. Is like, here are some things that we would have done because we have seen that have success, instead of you did everything wrong. Here's 15 points. Like your body language is in the wrong. You were facing the wrong direction while you said this. You were not negging her. Repeat. You know what I mean? Like the easy straw man argument to put, like the straw man I can put up of the overly neurotic dating coach. But you know what I mean?
mm. Overly critical. And I've had
Overly
that with
critical.
coaches that I've had, and I've let go of a few coaches, like fitness coaches and just mental health coaches and business
Do
coaches
you?
that were too like critical or like analytical about every little thing that I supposedly did wrong.
Yes, I sometimes worry that they do that to justify their involvement. That's my concern with some
I
coaches.
Yeah,
That's maybe a
100%.
cynical view
So
of it, but maybe a cynical view of it. But like the
no,
more
it's
you,
not
you
cynical.
not think
It's quite
so? Okay, fair enough. Then
yeah.
thank you for agreeing with
Um,
me.
you're very welcome. Yeah, no, there's a okay. So everybody listening, there are two types of teachers. I know I'm making it very binary, but you can kind of break it down. There's two types of teachers, like YouTube channel, coach, whatever. Like, there's two types of people that do all of that kind of stuff. The first one is the person who wants to put themselves in the position of expert, like person, like guru, expert person who has all the answers and knows what they're talking about. Second person is the one who's just like, hey, here's what I did. This is what worked for me. You know, try it yourself. It might work for you. It might not. Generally speaking, I will always encourage all of you to find the second group, which is the ones who say, this is what worked for me, or this is what's worked for my friends or my clients, or like whatever. Like, they don't have to have done it themselves, but they have to have some evidence that they're close to, you know, friends or clients or something. Here's what I've done, or my clients have done. Here's what I think will work for you. Try it and see. That is the best person to align yourself with, because that person cares about results. They don't care about their validation. They don't care about how they look as a expert or a guru. They literally don't give a fuck if they look like an idiot and you think they're an idiot, as long as you get the results. All they care about is your happiness. So find someone that aligns themselves with that, and then listen to, you don't have to listen to everything that person says, but like, I would push yourself more in that direction. The person who cares about results and doesn't care how you get them, as long as you're not hurting anyone, obviously. Like, they want you to be happy, they want you to succeed, and they don't care which method you pick to do it. In fact, they kind of like when you pick a method that's different to theirs. That's like the truly humble, coach or teacher. The
Hmm.
person who's like, oh, you're doing something different to me and you made it work. Holy shit, that's cool. Fuck, man, could I have what if I had been inefficient? Like, you've just possibly taught me something because you did the opposite of my advice and it worked. Holy fuck, wow. We've got to like rechange the definition. Like, I've got to zoom out a little bit and realize that there's multiple methods. Wow, this is good. Thank you for this information. Thank you for doing it differently to the way that I said to do it. So that's much more rare. You're asking for a humble teacher, but there are a lot of people like that. And generally speaking, you and I try and learn from those people. Alex Hormozy is a really good one in terms of entrepreneurship and business, because he's very much always bringing it back to, does this serve me? Like, does this method help me? If it does, I do it. If it doesn't, I don't. But
Yeah,
there's lots of people like that. But
he's very examining of his own stories. I like that about Alex.
yeah,
Yeah, like call him Alex
yeah.
like I know him. I like that about Mr. Hormozy and Mrs. Hormozy. They're both very like, are we thinking in the right way? Are we completely wrong?
Is this working? Yeah.
Yeah, like every 6 months, every 3 months, you'd be like, am I completely wrong? You just ask yourself that, like, is everything I'm doing actually showing results? Is it completely fucking wrong? And if I'm sticking to stuff that's not necessarily showing the results immediately, do I have a good reason as to why I'm doing this? That would be
And
my
to be clear,
suggestion.
you can then, I would then say balance that with, because as you say that, like, is this working for me? Am I getting the results? Sometimes people will just change methods every week or something. They're like,
Yeah, a week is
oh
too
my
much.
God, well,
Three
I
three
went
months
out.
was all right, I think. 3 months
Yeah,
is all
like
right.
give it a decent amount of time to actually try. Put real effort into whatever method. But most of the time, it's not like you need to completely change the method and change everything. It's just like a small tweak here and there. So we don't necessarily recommend giant changes, pulling yourself back and forwards every week. But just make little tweaks, see if it's working. If it's working, great, keep trying it, maybe tweak some stuff. All of this is a big experiment, like self improvement in general. Really, you can zoom out and say life is a big experiment. Like, none of us is given an instruction manual at birth. Stop and think about what that means. I'm not just saying that as a throwaway line. Actually, pause and think about the fact that none of us are given an instruction manual when we are born. Does that not tell you that this was designed, or call it random chance, whatever you want to say? Either this is a designed universe or it's random chance. But does that not tell you that maybe it was meant as an experiment or it ended up as an experiment? This is an experiment. We don't have instructions. What do you do when you're not given an instruction manual to something? You try and figure it out. That's what life is. And yet people will cling desperately to anyone that happens to say, "Hey, I have the instruction manual. I'm the expert. Listen to me. I am God." Like, that's how cults are formed. That's how personality cults are formed. That's why people get super famous on social media and stuff like that, because people that's why people listen to governments and politicians who are literally painfully obviously inadequate at everything, well, not everything, but at the job that they're doing, but will cling to that, or people will cling to that because they're desperate for an instruction manual. So here is your instruction manual. Life is an experiment. Give yourself permission to suck. Take a little bit of action every day. Keep going. That's it. In other words, I'm saying have fun. Play with this stuff. It doesn't have to be this big fucking serious thing of like, did I do it right? Did I do it wrong? There is no right.
Yes,
There's
I
only,
agree.
am I getting the results that I want? And I want to say to you, hey, Cam, happy Valentine's Day. Whatever your goals might be, whether that's money, relationships, sex and dating, fitness, health, friendships, whatever, we are here to help you make those beautiful goals come to life. Ed did it. Taylor did it. Harry did it. None of them are special. If you're listening to this, you know you're capable of more than you're currently giving. You already want something more than what everybody else around you seems to be content with. You want to achieve more, be more, give more to the world. You know it, and I know it. You're destined for something beautiful. Click the link to the coaching in the description below and let us help you get there. Happiness starts today.